Thank you very much, Grant. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow candidates, I'm very proud of my achievements over the last 4 years, and I'd like to thank the councillors that are present here today and the community for those achievements. Those achievements are just not mine or council's, they are the community's. It's been a tough time over the last 4 years. We brought together 4 councils into one, a global financial crisis. We've had fires and floods, the worst fire in our history. We've had a flood equivalent to our second worst flood. It's been a tough time. But we are still and we have become a leading Queensland economy. This morning, I've just come from a sod-turning ceremony at the Quest Apartments. A 73 apartments, a $20 million project, that's confirming the investment confidence in this region. Our council has invested to date, to this point in time, $407 million in the last 4 years in community infrastructure and assets. That's a record investment, and that has been done to meet the expectations of this community, the needs and the aspirations that this community has expressed to this council over time. And I'd like to repeat again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud of our council's achievement during that time. In terms of the 7 priority projects identified by Capricorn Enterprise, I wish to say at the outset that I've been a strong supporter of Capricorn Enterprise, and through our council's budgetary processes, we have committed $700,000 per annum to Capricorn Enterprise to take on that important role of marketing our tourism and economic opportunities of this region and to attract investment. There are some things that councils are not good at, and brokering business deals is not one of them, but to have a business-led organisation like Capricorn Enterprise representing the business community, representing this community to attract investment is an important role, and they need to stand at arm's length to council. I've worked with the Chair and with the CEO in terms of developing their 7 priorities. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm not going into a lot of detail about those 7 priorities because I've supported them, I've worked with them, I embrace them, and our council thinks that they are important for the economic growth of this region. I do concur with Margaret Strelo that from time to time those priorities need to be reviewed, need to be assessed and considered again, and I think that's an important issue that Margaret has raised here today. As part of those 7 investment priorities, I initiated, and again with Capricorn Enterprise, developed this Rockhampton Region Investment Brief, which was released here in Rockhampton last year and was also released at Parliament House in Brisbane, identifying a number of those priorities. That's another significant commitment to the key investment priorities for this region, and I'll talk in a bit more detail about those. What else can I say? I'm committed as a leader of this great region to embracing council's plans and our planning scheme to make sure that we commit to those. Now, in terms of my future vision for the region, I wish to talk to you about some key 10 points that I have as part of a 10-point plan. A number of us have already spoken today about the importance of industrial land at Gracemere, and I rate that as one of my number 1 priorities to make sure that we continue to bring that project forward to create the sustainable jobs for our community, for our current community and future generations. I'd like to just take the time to point out to you and recognise and respect the work that Fitzroy Shire Council did in bringing this project forward, that there's a higher order plan called the Gracemere Stanwell Zone, which has clearly identified the whole area in question as an industrial area. So we're not changing anything, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing I'm guilty of is trying to accelerate and bring this forward for the importance of jobs and sustainable jobs in this region. And I remain committed to that process. I see Ian Herbert here, and I spoke to Ian on the way in. My second point is, one of the key issues impacting on this region is the impact of the resource industry. We have a mining industry treating us with contempt at this point in time. They are difficult to engage with, and we've got a whole range of projects that are starting to impact on our region, impact on the mouth of the Fitzroy River, and I say to you that I believe the impact of coal port development at the mouth of the Fitzroy River will be the single biggest environmental issue to face this community in the next decade, and we have to work on it together to understand those impacts. I wish to maintain and continue the engagement that we have with our community and the way we communicate with our community. We must continue the dialogue and we must continue to work with our community plan. This is another great outcome of our current council. That was 10 months of consultation last year, a series of internet contacts, focus groups, telephone surveys, meetings with individuals. That's a statutory process. We have adopted that and embraced that and adopted that in late December. We have to continue the investment into our ageing assets. And I spoke earlier about our $407 million investment. And I noted that Margaret talked about how she increased the investment into the ageing assets, regardless of the fact that the state government had withdrawn subsidies and withdrawn financial support during our term, and particularly withdrawn the 40% subsidy that applied to building these sorts of pieces of infrastructure. I give you an example that the Gracemere sewage treatment plant, which cost us and our community $7 million this year to complete, or sorry, last year to complete, would have only cost us $4 million had those subsidies still been in existence. That's caused significant financial pressure to this council. We need to complete the bringing together of our 4 strategic plans, our 4 land use plans into one. That's been an enormous job. That's been a job that we've invested a significant amount of our own resources and finances to get right. Because getting that right will determine where our community lives, where our transport corridors are, where our businesses can invest, how we can raise our children and our grandchildren to live in a wonderful community. We talked about the 7 priorities of Capricorn Enterprise. My point number 6 is to transform the Rockhampton region into a major economic and lifestyle hub by continuing to pursue the investment attraction strategies contained in that investment brief I showed you. The list of projects I won't go through in detail. It's road and rail infrastructure, water infrastructure, industrial land, the Central Queensland NRL bid, the dual sector university TAFE, foreshore and riverbank developments, and a defence strategy. The importance of working with our defence industries to attract a diversified economy, a diversified economic base. Point 7 is to maintain and strengthen our partnerships with the state and federal governments to secure long-term solutions, in particular the development of water infrastructure. The important need which we overlook in a community and a society today to develop our food and fibre industries. We need water supply for our urban development and industrial growth, but we certainly need to make sure that we are developing food and fibre industries as there is an increasing and global shortage of these commodities. My 8th point is to maintain the highest standards of responsible financial management and governance to achieve value for money for our ratepayers. And I am committed to a complete review of our council, its services and the performance of our senior management. Point 9 is to improve the financial management of our and sustainability of our council-owned assets. In particular, Fitzroy River Water. These are the business units that generate some revenue and income quite separate to rates. Fitzroy River Water, the Rockhampton Airport, our waste facilities and cultural facilities. And the 10th point is to maintain an effective day labour program. It's our day labour workforce that are ones that stand by us in times of difficulty. In terms of the financial issues, I've got 1 minute to go, thank you. Let me just say to you that one of the strengths of this council is our financial management, and it's not broken. Mr Jack Noy, the Acting Director-General of the Department of Local Government, wrote to us in June 2011 and confirmed that we are in a strong financial position. The Queensland Treasury Corp also confirmed that. Our debt has been a conscious decision to invest in our assets. We have a $182.7 million debt at the end of March. Our debt is equivalent to 8.3% of our asset base, and if you had children that borrowed $50,000 to buy a $500,000 house, you would consider that a good investment. There is good debt and bad debt. This council has good debt and has invested it wisely. Our rate increases over the last 4 years, The total revenue that we've raised is 38%. We are the second lowest, benchmarked against 7 other local authorities, Townsville being the highest, Cairns being the lowest. I look forward to leading this region for a second term. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.